Did you know that most of us never learnt about personal finance at school? Well, the good news is you can teach yourself. And today I'm sharing the 10 best personal finance books that completely changed my financial journey and can help change yours too. Hi, I'm Mike, property mentor and writer, and over the years I've read thousands of books on finance, personal development, business. But out of all of these 10 stand out as the best starting point for anybody who wants to master money and create financial freedom. First one up, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Now this is a classic book, written almost 100 years ago. And it's still relevant today. By the way, you don't need to worry about writing these down. I've put a list of all 10 in the description. Anyway, back to Think and Grow Rich. So the author was asked to draft a book by his mentor, Andrew Carnegie. And Hill then spent the next 20 years studying the great wealth producers of that time and that era. And he distilled it all into this book. The introduction to the book starts with a teaser that the secret to riches is mentioned in every chapter. So you're asked to read and reread the book to let its messages sink in. Now 20 years after I first read that book, I still make sure that I reread it every year. And the biggest lesson? Success starts with mindset. Number 2, Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. So this was the second book I read on money shortly after reading Think and Grow Rich, and it made me really angry. Yeah, I was furious. Not because of the style or that I disagreed with anything that he said, but because it made me realise that what society tells us about money is false, and in some cases damaging. So this book is semi-autobiographical, and it shows how a young Robert first learns that his friend's dad is very wealthy compared to his real dad. Robert loved his real dad, but he had followed the traditional route of education, job, pension. And he soon realised that his pension wasn't going to support him. Now this book really changed my outlook and my habits. From concepts like paying yourself first to producing your own monthly cash flow statements. And these habits have helped me get to the point of financial independence. My big takeaway from this though is that you should take personal responsibility for your financial education as soon as you can. Get a job to gain knowledge and experience so that you can eventually start your own business. Next up is another book by Kiyosaki. The Cashflow Quadrant expands on the themes of Rich Dad Poor Dad, but it's a practical how-to book. And I would definitely recommend getting and reading both if you can. The fourth book, Your Money or Your Life by Dominguez Vicki Robin. The premise of this book is that every pound or dollar that you have in your net worth or freedom pot represents the amount of time that you don't need to work. On the other side, every pound or dollar that you spend is a pound that you don't add to your freedom pot, and therefore is time that you must keep working, hence your money or your life. You should therefore look at what you spend your money on and ask, is this purchase worth the amount of extra time that I will need to work to be able to pay for it? Next, number 5, Early Retirement Extreme by Lund Fisker. When I first heard about the FIRE movement, or Financial Independence Retire Early, this book came up in recommendations. And it says you should cut your expenses to such a level that your net worth doesn't need to be as high as you think it does to achieve financial independence. The book does take this to an extreme level, and it goes beyond frugality and doing simple DIY tasks to cut costs. This in a way is a way of life, kind of a cult. There are some great tips, however, in here for cutting expenses, but for me it does go a little too far. But for many people it's a real way out of the rat race as soon as possible. Number 6, The Millionaire Next Door by Thomas J. Stanley. This isn't really a practical book as such, but it breaks down how real millionaires live their lives, such as what they spend their money on, what do they invest in, and even whether they repaired old shoes or they bought brand new. The message is that you won't be able to spot a millionaire on the street, as they don't look like what you think they should look like. They wear ordinary clothes, drive sensible cars. The lesson is, if you want to be a millionaire, do what real millionaires do. Number 7 is one of my favourite books, The Richest Man in Babylon by George Samuel Clason. It's a short book of fables about some characters in ancient Babylon. They have the same worries and dreams around money as we do today. It goes into how these characters learn the simple habits of the rich. These are the same habits that we can start today. The biggest one for me is to pay yourself first. 10% of your earnings is yours to keep. Save it up, and once your savings nest egg reaches a certain level, you can then invest for further growth. The book warns us to take advice of trusted and experienced experts before investing. The 8th book on the list is Escape the Rat Race by M.G. DeMarco. This goes against the grain of most personal financial books. DeMarco doesn't like the rich, slow school of thought. He shows us how he himself escaped the rat race by creating a business rather than saving and investing. And there's some good concepts in this book around creating models of business, and that's why I've put this on the list. Number 9, Fail-Safe Investing by Harry Brown. This introduced me to asset allocation called the permanent portfolio, and this system makes sure you sell assets high and buy low. The final book in the list is Becoming Rich by Genevieve Davis. Becoming Rich takes a magical stance on money management, and I really like the money bucket system, which I have seen elsewhere, but this version seemed to resonate with me. So those are my top 10 personal favourite finance books. Each one has given me a new perspective on money, mindset and personal freedom. And if you're just starting, I'd suggest beginning with these 3. Think and Grow Rich, Rich Dad Poor Dad and The Richest Man in Babylon. These 3 form a powerful foundation. So what's your favourite? Have I missed something out that might have changed your life? Drop a comment and let me know, and I'll definitely make sure that I check it out. And please do like this video so YouTube will send you similar videos and also send it to other people who might find it useful. And if you'd like to see more like this from me, make sure to subscribe. I've got much more coming down the line about personal finance, freedom, and much, much more. But until next time, have a great week, and I'll see you in the next one.